Welcome to Matador News. These are today's headlines. In San Bernardino, the FBI arrests 3 more people, including the brother of one of the shooters. An airstrike on a Syrian hospital leaves 27 people dead, including children. And evidence of opioids are found in Prince's Paisley Park Estate. Hello, and welcome to Matador News. I'm Jordan Williams.
And I'm Brigitte Raksin. The FBI has arrested 3 people in connection with the San Bernardino terror attack, including the brother of one of the shooters. Syed Raheel Farouk, the brother of shooter Syed Rizwan Farouk, was arrested this morning in his Riverside County home. All 3 suspects have been charged with marriage fraud for falsifying statements to obtain immigration benefits for one of the defendants. On December 2nd, Rizwan Farouk and his wife Tashfeen Malik opened fire on a social services holiday party, killing 14 before fleeing the scene. The couple later died in a shootout with police. Last month, federal authorities were able to hack into an iPhone used by one of the shooters.
North Korea has launched another mid-range missile, but South Korean officials say the test seems to have failed. The Musudan missile was launched early this morning. The South Korean Defense Ministry says they can't confirm exactly when the missile exploded, but say it crashed soon after it was launched. Another missile launched 2 weeks ago and was tracked by the U.S. Officials say there was no evidence that missile reached flight. President Obama has acknowledged North Korea is continuing to try and advance their weapons program, disregarding the international condemnation.
An airstrike on an Aleppo pediatric hospital in Syria has killed 27, including children. A missile from a fighter jet hit the Al-Quds hospital occupied by the Syrian rebel forces. Doctors Without Borders community. The Observatory for Human Rights says at least 140 civilians were killed in Aleppo in the last 6 days. The UN Special Envoy to Syria, Staffan de Mistura, declared the increased fighting in Aleppo a humanitarian disaster. It is unclear yet which side of the force the conflict the jet was fighting for.
Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump says he isn't too worried about opponent Ted Cruz's new running mate.
Cruz can't win. What's he doing picking vice presidents? Can't win. Can't win. You know, on television they say it nicely. He has no path to victory. That's a nice expression, right? No path to victory. He's got no path to victory. He's mathematically eliminated.
In the face of another primary defeat, presidential candidate Ted Cruz formally announced businesswoman Carly Fiorina as his running mate. Cruz says he made the decision after a great deal of consideration and prayer. The move, seen by critics as a last-ditch effort by the Texas senator to gain momentum after being mathematically eliminated from winning the GOP presidential candidacy outright. Cruz lost all 5 East Coast states to Trump on Tuesday, furthering the gap between the two. For Cruz to have a chance left in the race, he must have a strong showing next week in Indiana.
Now let's go to the newsroom with Matador News reporter Kat Chryssafis in the newsroom with more on women in the military.
Captain Kristen Grease has officially become the Army's first female infantry officer. Army officials say more women are expected to follow in her footsteps. This is made possible because of a 2013 directive from the Pentagon. The directive was set to open all military jobs to qualified women beginning in 2016. Some CSUN students and faculty members say this will have both positive and negative effects on the military.
I think it's positive so that they're viewed equally, and if it is something that the women want to do, but I think in the past they were kept in other positions where they weren't out there in the front lines, and I believe that it is something that women have fought for, to have that option to go out there and not just have other duties, because that may not be what their desire is.
A lot of people, I don't think that girls can't do the same thing or women can't do the same thing as men, but they could do basically the same thing as us, I'm pretty sure. And I don't know, it's the same, like they were paid less, and voting, it's like the same thing. We just, like, over time it changes.
Having a lot of friends in the military, as well as that was something I wanted to pursue, they tell me that having a woman in the front lines, it's a little bit harder, because would you rather go and help, you know, that damsel in distress type thing? Would you rather go help a woman that's in trouble or help your other, you know, the other guy that's in battle. And a lot of times they said that they'll probably do things different and go help the woman rather.
22 female Army cadets are approved to enter the infantry and armor branches. Female lieutenants can now apply for a transfer into sections that were once closed to women. Now let's go back to Jordan in the studio.
A 14-year-old boy armed with a fake gun has been shot and wounded by a Baltimore police detective. The boy, identified as Dedrick Colvin, was shot in the leg and shoulder. Colvin was seen holding and playing with a replica pistol when he was approached by two undercover officers. Colvin began running after officers identified themselves. Detectives gave chase for about 150 yards before one opened fire. Baltimore Police Commissioner Kevin Davis says the officers shouldn't be blamed for mistaking the BB gun for a real
police
pistol.
officers make an observation of a person with what looks like to be a gun in his hand. Now, as it turns out, this is a replica semi-automatic pistol.
Colvin is expected to survive. It was just about a year ago when Freddie Gray died while in Baltimore police custody, leading to several days of protests.
After losing in Tuesday night's primaries, Bernie Sanders is making changes to his campaign staff. The Vermont senator is planning to lay off hundreds of campaign personnel across the country to try to focus on the California primaries in June. Sanders says he has a very large staff which is designed to handle 50 states. Sanders says now that 40 of those states are in the background, he wants to work on winning the California delegates. Sanders spokesman Michael Briggs says the campaign will keep over 300 workers on staff to target the remaining contestants.
Oxford, Alabama has responded to Target's new bathroom policy. The city has now made it illegal for transgendered people to use the bathroom that does not correspond to the gender on their birth certificate. Target had announced last week that it would allow transgendered customers and employees to use the bathroom that matches their gender identity. Many conservative groups are planning to boycott the major retailer. Many other states like North Carolina and Mississippi have also implemented laws banning transgenders from using certain bathrooms. Last week, transgender activist Caitlyn Jenner made a political statement by choosing to use the women's restroom at Trump International Hotel and Tower in New York.
Last week, Donald Trump said I could take a pee anywhere in a Trump facility, so I am gonna go take a pee in the ladies' room.
Jenner later thanked Donald Trump for allowing transgenders to use the bathroom of their choice. Jenner also responded to Trump's opponent as the Republican presidential nominee, Ted Cruz, by saying no one got molested. Cruz said earlier this month that he supports the new bathroom laws.
Now let's toss it to Matador News reporter Julie Nesbitt with the latest on the death of music legend Prince.
Thank you, Brigitte. Authorities investigating the death of singer Prince have found prescription drug opioid medication on his person and in his home. The singer was treated for a potential overdose of the medication a week before his death. Prince's private plane made an emergency landing in Illinois due to a health scare. Investigators believe it was caused by a reaction to this medication. The pills are commonly used to treat dental and injury-related pain. Autopsy results have been completed but will not be released for a few weeks. Comedian Will Ferrell is set to portray former President Ronald Reagan in an upcoming movie. The premise of the comedy is the ex-president falling into dementia during his second term in the White House. Ferrell is no stranger to playing political roles, having played former President George W. Bush several times on Saturday Night Live. The script is currently without a director, but will be soon shopped to studios. No date is set for the film's premiere. Now we go to Matador News reporter Alicia Dieguez in the newsroom with the latest on the Clippers.
The Clippers lost against the Portland Trail Blazers last night, 108-98. Both Chris Paul and Blake Griffin are out on injuries, which leaves the team short-handed. Some seasoned students say they are following the NBA playoffs closely.
I feel bad for Chris Paul because he deserves a chance to be in championship or at least game. And Blake Griffin, I don't really care. He's overrated. He's cocky.
I think they could have won it this year, but they're shorthanded now, so something has to be changed.
I actually like the outcome because seeing that, the unfortunate injuries of Chris Paul and Blake Griffin, gives my Warriors a better chance to make it to the finals, which would be the better outcome for myself.
Sits out on the bench while Jeff Green scores 17 points and J.J. Redick leads with 19 points. Coach Doc Rivers says the team should focus on tomorrow rather than the future. Here's what he had to say.
We don't have to be the best team. We just need to be the best team tomorrow. And that's all we have to figure out. How can we be the best team tomorrow and then figure out how to do it one more time.
The Trailblazers lead the series 3-2. The next game will be at 7:30 on Friday in Portland. Now we go back to Suzy Rose in the studio where she has more news on sports.
Thank you. The Los Angeles Rams will kick off the NFL draft tonight at 5 with the first overall pick. Quarterback is the Rams' top need and will likely be addressed within minutes of the draft beginning. It's between UC Berkeley's Jared Goff and North Dakota State's Carson Wentz for the position. The Rams don't have any wide receiver picks in rounds 2 and 3. Maurice Alexander, Cody Davis, LaMarcus Joyner, and Christian Bryant could be considered for the free safety, although Alexander and Joyner would have to make position changes. The Rams are coming back to Los Angeles after more than 20 years in St. Louis. Now we go back to Julie with the latest in business news.
Global media company Comcast has purchased DreamWorks Animation Studio for $3.8 billion. The NBC Universal division of Comcast would acquire the American Animation Studio known for its feature films, television programs, and online virtual worlds. Comcast says DreamWorks will receive $41 in cash per share of stock. DreamWorks Chief Executive Jeffrey Katzenberg will become head of a new division called DreamWorks New Media. He will also be a consultant to NBC Universal, but will give up control of his usual daily responsibilities. An Atlanta couple is suing Snapchat over the speed filter they say made a woman crash into them. The 18-year-old driver was using the speed filter to showcase her driving up to 113 miles per hour. The complaint says the driver was distracted on her phone and did not notice the couple's Mitsubishi get on the road. Authorities say the driver hit the couple's car at 107 miles per hour in a 55 speed limit zone. The husband spent 5 weeks in intensive care and has permanent brain damage. The young woman posted a second Snapchat selfie of her on a gurney with the caption, "Lucky to be alive." Now back to Suzy with today's health news.
It is Infertility Awareness Week. The Center for Infertility Justice reports that infertility affects as many as 1 in 8 couples of reproductive age. According to a Danish study done in 2012, lean women who reduce their physical activity from vigorous to moderate can improve their fertility. Too much exercise has proven to hinder fertility. Researchers say women who are trying to get pregnant should limit their exercise to a maximum of 5 hours a week. NASA scientists have created a map to track locations of mosquitoes responsible for the spread of the Zika virus in the United States. Speaker of the House Paul Ryan says the government plans to work with NASA on the project.
Sit down with the appropriators to figure out the best way forward to make sure that we're good stewards of the taxpayers' money and to make sure that we have what we need to combat and stay ahead of the Zika virus issue.
Researchers are analyzing 50 cities where the Aedes aegypti mosquitoes have been reported. The map applies factors such as temperature, rainfall, poverty levels, and travel to the U.S. from affected areas around the world. Researchers have also made the map show the highest risk areas per month. The map has been released in the Public Library of Science. Attention dog owners, your dog probably hates hugs. According to a new study, almost 82% of dogs show at least one sign of stress and anxiety when being hugged. Some of the signs are ears down, head turned to avoid eye contact, submissive eye closure, anxious yawning, and lip licking. Because a dog's primary defense is the ability to run away, hugging it may cause stress because it is immobilized, and the dog may bite. 8% of dogs do appear to be comfortable getting hugged, though. The study recommends giving them a pat and a treat instead. Now that's all for health news. Now back to Jordan in the studio.
I think that lead researcher might be a cat person.
I think so. My dog loves being hugged.
It's good to hear. Thank you for watching Matador News. I'm Jordan Williams.
I'm Brigitte Raksin.
I'm Julie Nesbitt.
And I'm Suzy Rose. Have a great day.